Hey everybody, welcome back. We're back for the BBA podcast. There is less than 6 weeks away from the tournament, so it's getting closer and closer as the days go on. But today, I got two guests. We're going to talk about a crazy event that happened about six years ago in the 2009 BBA tournament. So, with me today is Qusai Kalolwala from Houston. He plays everything, basketball, soccer, football. So he plays everything. He's a two-time champ and a five-time finalist. So he's got the most finals appearances in BBA history, tied with Shabrusin as well. So welcome, Qusay.
Wow, thanks. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, it's pretty impressive. And then I got Huzefa Hussain from lives in Michigan now, originally from New York. Pretty much, I think it's safe to say he's the BBA GOAT, man. Two-time champ, three-time finalist, won the MVP, and he has been a captain 10 times. So 10 years out of all these years, and so that's more than anybody else. So um, he's just a born leader and an awesome competitor, and um, it's good to have you here, man. Welcome.
I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, how you guys feel about this year? You guys feel good about your squads?
Yeah, I'm excited to play with some of the guys I haven't played with in a long time, or ever actually, with Hamid and Zafar and some new guys and Abbas Kalol, and I haven't played with him. So a lot of new guys. I've known them for many years, but this is the year I get a chance to play with them. It just seems like every year I get to play with like a new guard, which is exciting. I'm excited. I'm ready.
Yeah, that's cool. After all these years, you're playing with like some of the guys who've also played all these years, but now you get to play with them for the first time.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
the crazy
wild.
thing is, like, I still remember Hassan Zafar refing or the first BBA tournament that I was playing in, and he's still like going, right? Like at that
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
I thought I was like, man, this guy is probably like, I don't know, he was in his early or mid 30s and he's still playing. Like,
yeah, yeah. The
guys
guy's a
like that, you're like,
machine.
it's amazing, right? To see that I'm finally playing with him after
Yeah,
what, 12, 13 years. Yeah.
yeah. And Kusei, you got like a mix of young and old on your team.
Oh, I'm really excited. I've got some young up and coming Mela Manjar, Hamza Burhan, uh, Murtaza Shabir
Yeah,
from Chicago. Then the Danish brothers. Amar Danish is I think playing in his first BBA, but that kid is uber athletic, from MFL to tough to
soccer.
soccer.
Yeah.
Like that guy is like he's athletic as I don't think there's any other kid right now who's more athletic than him, and competing in sports and stuff. So I'm eager to to play with all them. Plus, we got a good big in Adam Suleimanji. And then, I think me and Shabir Karimi kind of are the old people on the team. So we're looking forward to sitting on the bench and kind of guiding these guys and hopefully come out, maybe get my sixth BBA finals appearance and third championship this year.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, like what I love about you two guys specifically is just how competitive you guys are. And I think that like keeps us coming back to this thing that it's just an outlet to just compete as hard as we can, and then there's the brotherhood off of it. So uh we play a bunch of different sports. I mean, like Hutzler, like you're one of the most competitive guys I know, and then off the court you're like one of the nicest guys I know. And so um, for all of those, like all you people who like have played against Hustler, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's not even just basketball. Like you should have seen this guy at the pickleball tournament a few months ago, man. Hustler was going nuts, dude. He was just so intense. You're like, man, this guy just brings it. Doesn't matter what it is. So, man, I just think that's awesome. So,
Thank you, man.
here we are, man. Another year. So,
Yeah.
um, So let's get into it. More housekeeping stuff. Like and subscribe this if you get a chance. But before we talk about the actual topic, and I mentioned it in the last podcast, and I just want to kind of mention it again because I think it bears repeating. What connects us all of us in this tournament is our Mola Sayyidina Mufaddal Saifuddin, and what brings us together in this context is basketball. And what bonds us over time is like these stories, these shared experiences, that like even now that we're talking about years and years later. And so it's just a really cool thing, and it's fun to share these stories over and over again. So this year we're gonna talk about I titled it The Great Flood of 2019. Um, and so I'll set the scene a little bit, and then I'll let you guys kind of tell your stories. So this was back in the 2019 tournament. It was in Chicago, September, late September. And so that Friday night before the tournament, there was like a record amount of rainfall in Chicago for that date. And so flights were getting canceled and people weren't making it in, and it was just kind of chaotic, right? And so people were just scrambling. So Hutzler, I'll tell you, I'll let you take over and kind of tell what happened with your travel plans trying to get to the tournament in that year.
Yeah, it was. I usually leave Friday always for the tournament. It was in Chicago, so I always try to plan my flight like in the mornings or usually afternoons. I want to get there safely. I want to have like a contingency plan just in case something happens. But this was a year where I booked my flight for 7 p.m. It was about 6 or 7 p.m. out of Philadelphia. I used to live in New Jersey at that time, so I drove to Philly. I have friends from New York calling me. It was Kansab, Ali Ganch, a few other guys. They're all flying out together out of New York, and I'm flying out of Philly. So they're texting me, calling me, saying, "Hey, I think our flights are going to be canceled." And I'm like, "I'm good. I'm good." Southwest hasn't said anything yet. I'm driving to Philly. I'm at the airport. I'm saying, "I'm good. I'm good." I'm there about to, I'm at the gate, and boom, all of a sudden, flights are canceled. It's like 7 p.m. It's around 7 p.m. at that time. So I'm frantically scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. The New York guys are like, "Yep, our flights are canceled." So it was 4 or 5 of the guys. I don't remember the other few guys. I do remember Kansab and Ali Ganch, and maybe the Dawood Bhais. A few other guys were there, all the New York guys. So, I mean, this is where the Bora Brotherhood comes together. So they said they rented a minivan. They said, "We're going to go rent a car right now, a minivan, and we will come to New Jersey to pick you up. Can you meet
Wow.
us halfway?" So my parents live halfway from New York, like New York City, where the JFK Airport and Philly. So I said, "Hey, can you guys come to my parents' place? I can park my car there, and you guys can pick me up." So they probably drove got a van. By the time they came, picked me up, it was almost 10, 11 p.m. And then we just drove all night, right? Like all of us just drove. I didn't drive at all. A few of the older guys didn't drive. Luckily, the youngins drove.
How long was the drive?
I think mostly what was that.
How long was the drive?
So the drive was, I would say, about 15 hours, maybe even
Wow.
because the tournament actually hadn't even started. By the time I got there, we drove and the game one was already over, right? So we drove for so long and pretty much nonstop, no sleep in the car practically, right? Like I'm 6'2", like I can't sleep like in a car or a van.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep at all. That was one of the first years we started doing like a little, like a news, like podcasting in the middle of the games, in the beginning of the games. There's guys going around, right? Like we kind of had a news anchor.
Yeah, we had sideline
Little,
reporters.
yeah, like sideline. So it was the first year. So I was following the games on the app. The game one was already done, right? We had lost game one. And it was the second year I was playing with Rawat and Shabir Hussain because we had gone to the finals the year before. So we kind of had the same team again that year. So by the time it was 15, 16-hour drive, we get there. As soon as I get there, game two is already going on. And we were already losing by 20 in game two to Qusai Kalolwala's team, Tahir Hassan Ali's team. I still remember that was the green team, probably the best squad ever created. Right, we were down 20. I didn't know that. Right, it's only game 2 of BBA. We just got there. After the tournament, we figured out this is one heck of a team. It was Tahir Baiji's first year. It was the Jupiter brothers. It was Tahir Patan. He came out of nowhere. He had like 90, 100 points.
Murtaza Patan.
Murtaza Patan, sorry. Yeah, Murtaza Patan. Qusai, Tahir Hassan Ali. So, I mean, I got there. I'm playing against the green team. It's second half. We're down 20. My first shot was an air ball. I was just like, I was so flustered because the drive, no lack of sleep, and just kind of as soon as I got there, I was like, I have to play. I got to get on the court. Like my team's losing. But man, it was like the brotherhood that we talk about. Everybody came together. They modified the schedule. There was a leak. I was already there, and I was watching, water dripping from the roof. There was a bucket in the middle of the court. It was, yeah.
It's crazy, dude. Like I remember, like you showing up, the game's already in progress, and like you just like it's like when you watch like WWE wrestling. Like you just run in from outside the court, and you just like run on the court and start playing. No warm up.
Somebody found somebody.
Like, let's just go.
Let's just go.
And your team was just all fired up. It was like.
And I was so awesome. Fired up. It was like a 5-footer. I shot an air ball, and I was like, oh, dude, what just happened?
Yeah.
And I still remember that shot, and I was like, wow. I was like, okay. And then the team was like, I think Shabir and Rawat were like, okay, we're down 20. I played a little bit, warmed up. They're like, okay, let's just kind of, let's just, we lost this game. We'll reset and then figure out the next game.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was. I mean, but it just shows the commitment of driving, And then as we were driving, we didn't really sleep because we were just getting text messages from people driving from Atlanta, people from, I think Mustan changed his flight from Texas. A bunch of guys from Texas changed their flights. Some people got there that morning. We were just trying to figure out like who's going to show up, who's not, what's going on. Are people going to make it? So it was, but almost I think everybody made it. And then just amendment to BBA, people figured it out. People helped each other. People carpooled, and found a way.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. Like, Qusai, tell us a little bit about like from the Houston perspective. I know you made it, okay, but what about like those Houston guys?
Well, I think it was a lesson learned for about I think it was 8 people on the late night flight. They were taking a Spirit flight, and it kept getting postponed, and then finally got canceled. I think Mustan was on there. Yeah, I was actually looking through my phone to find that picture. But yeah, Mustan, Kadi, Kutbuddin Vora, Abbas Antaria, Murtaza Ali. So out of these guys, I think Mustan, Kutbuddin, and Abbas Antaria, like they were able to figure out some alternate modes of. They got another ticket and were able to come Saturday early morning. They missed, I think, Mustan didn't miss any games. He got there right before the first game. Kutbuddin missed the game or something, and Abbas missed the game. But yeah, it showed the dedication, and just the want to compete. They showed up as Hutzler was talking about it. There was overall, I was lucky. I just like Huzefa, I try to get in either Thursday night or Friday morning, just because I have a lot of committee stuff that I have to get done and taken care of, and just you just want to kind of be able to get a good night's sleep and relax before Saturday, because the weekend is exhausting. I mean, a lot of you guys get breaks in between games, but the committee members, Hatim, Tahir Baiji, Timmy, everyone who's helped out in the past. Like if we're not playing a game, we got to do committee stuff. So it gets tasking. It takes a toll on us that weekend. So at least getting in early on Friday, it helps out, and you're able to rest and stuff. So you can put your best foot forward on over the weekend. But
So like
like yeah,
yeah, you've been on this committee for since like the start, right?
uh, I wasn't the very first BBA. I wasn't on the committee.
Mhm.
I was just a spectator or just a player. But since then, yeah, I've kind of taken a part of it. So 12
So
years.
yeah, so for this tournament specifically, like what did you guys do? Like how did you manage this? Because now you're getting messages from like all these guys and a lot of like top players too saying like, "Hey, our flights are canceled. We're not going to make it." Some people like were like our flight is rebooked for Sunday afternoon, which wouldn't be helpful. So now like you
Yeah.
have this tournament planned and the whole competitive balance is going to get thrown off if all these players don't show up. So now
So
what?
so the first thing I think myself and Timmy, first thing we did is we man Nazrumukam, and
Nice.
I guess it's one of the best things to do, right? Any time you're in any trouble, just put your faith in Kuda and just let it play out. So Iman Nazumukam, we're like, okay, let's see, let's people's because we had people coming from the West Coast. I had Panda Amar was like stranded in Denver, and he was getting rerouted, and then we had people from California whose flights they ended up leaving, but then they ended up coming like on red eyes in the middle of the night. So we had to, coordinate transportation, make sure they got to their accommodations and whatnot. Let their accommodation know that, look, the player is going to be a little late. Um, and then basically the people whose flights were canceled, I think there was 40 plus people who had flight disturbances. Um, or either the flight was delayed or postponed or canceled, and we just had to kind of we were just winging it, making sure we were staying in touch with them, making sure they were okay first of all, and then if they were going to make it or not. I mean, at the end of the day, our as a committee we were like, look, it's y'all safety first, and you know we just want, if you can make it, great, but if you cannot make it, like if it's because changing your ticket or doing something like that was very costly.
Yeah.
So we understood if a person could not make that financial obligation. So but luckily, alhamdulillah, I think only out of the 40 plus players, only like 5 players were not able to um, show up,
Yeah.
and 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 luckily those were the years where we had 8 maybe 9 players on a team.
Mhm.
So the players who did not show up did not affect the the balance
Tournament, yeah.
of the weekend, the competitive balance of the weekend. But yes, I would say some, like, as Huzefa and like the 5 6 other people, they drove from New York. My own captain, Tahir Hassan Ali, he was in Atlanta. He was about to get on a flight, and his flight got canceled. Uh, and luckily for Tahar Ramak, he had got on a plane, but they rerouted him to Atlanta, and so he happened to get into Atlanta, and Tahir's plane got canceled, and Ramak's connection to Chicago got canceled. So he was able to give company to Tahir, and the two of them drove from Atlanta the whole. Basically, they started driving a little bit earlier because I think they had like almost a 20 plus hour drive to
Yeah.
Chicago, and literally Tahir walked in like maybe 10 minutes before our first game. we as a committee we tried to push the start times a little bit back, so that we could accommodate as much as we could. And but overall, I think uh, we had a decent tournament. I think it
Yeah,
was
no.
personally for me, it ended up being a great tournament because my team won.
Yeah,
But
undefeated.
otherwise, I think the court leaking in the middle, we had to scramble and
So
you
like
know
even for that, Qusai, like there was a time when we were like, okay, the court's leaking. And then we like kind of wiped it up and tried to play on it. And then like the court's leaking. Then we put like a cone over it and tried to play around it. And then at some point we're like, okay, you know what? Like this is just
yeah
not safe.
yeah
And so like,
we ended up, it was so much water, we ended up bringing like a trash can, a big ass
but
like 50-gallon trash can to
But
hold the
that's,
water.
in terms of like playing a tournament, that's like a logistical nightmare because when you're planning it, you count on every court, all day long for 8 hours, 10 hours a day for 2 days. And now all of a sudden, like it's just out of commission. That now what?
Yeah. Well, it was just not like not having the court available. Like we were able to extend some time with the other courts, and the facility obviously worked with us because they understood it's kind of their fault,
Yeah.
having a leaky roof. The other kind of issue we had that we had to kind of resolve on the go was, well, the refs had to then we we had to kind of we had committed refs for those courts, but now they weren't going to get to ref, but then we needed refs to stay longer. So we had to kind of make an agreement and kind of, appease them that, we'd pay them a little bit extra. We tipped them. We gave them a good tip at the end of the tournament. And, it all went well. But yeah,
Well, I mean, I don't think you mentioned it, but like you end up cutting a game out of the schedule for everybody, right? So
we did.
like 5 game, it was originally scheduled every team was supposed to play 5 games, and then one of the solutions that worked was like, all right, well, we just can play four because we have one less court. And in my opinion, that worked out great. And I think that's like actually something that stuck, right?
Yeah.
The four game on Saturday.
And like, what I think about it um, is since then, I think only when we did the Houston tournament, we had more games, the one after COVID. And surprisingly, this tournament ended up being the last one. We took a year off because of COVID. We weren't able to hold another
Mm,
tournament the next year. So
yeah,
uh, the people that weren't able to make it had big time FOMO because they didn't get to play basketball for almost 2 years again.
yeah, yeah,
And everyone who did make it, were grateful, and they have these stories to tell, like, to their kids and to their friends and family, that look, I mean, I'm sure people, if they listen to Huzefa or they listen to uh Tahir or Mustan or someone saying, hey, I booked a ticket, or I drove 15 hours for uh, a Bora basketball tournament, they'd be like looking at us weird, like, but uh, when we come out and when we play with each other and we compete with each other, and the bonds and stuff that we make on the court, I think, they they transcend everything. I've come across and I've met so many wonderful people through basketball. Like, I mean, I met Huzefa through basketball, and I've come to know him as a great individual, a great person. Otherwise, I don't know where our paths would have crossed if it wasn't the basketball court.
yeah. And I mean, to me, this like what stands out to me in this situation, because I even had somebody call me on Friday night and was like, well, um, my flight got canceled, but I can come tomorrow and get it like a early morning ticket. It's gonna be like $500. and I was just like, man, I can't tell you to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna be the one to tell you to spend that kind of cash, but like just the dedication of everybody, right? Like to say, okay, I'm gonna spend this money, or I'm gonna drive, or I'm gonna pick up, like, we could go straight and save 2 hours, or we could pick up our buddy and all go together. Like that kind of stuff, like it's amazing. And
Yeah.
like Huzefa, you mentioned like not only did you like drive through the night show, but like you played on no sleep, right? And all these guys who
Yeah.
came like later, like they didn't sleep at all, and they just
No,
came and just played.
we didn't sleep because we wanted to keep the driver awake, right? I mean, this person worked probably had a full-time job that was driving. Most of us were young adults. We were adults who were working, right? Like
Yeah,
there weren't any like super youngins, and it doesn't matter youngin or old, you got to keep them awake. You're driving 70, 80 miles on a highway going through,
yeah.
Pennsylvania, all these different states.
It's not like you planned for it,
And you
like,
haven't nobody planned it, right? So
right.
it's so we were just keeping each other company and talking most of the time, or we would kind of be taking turns, taking like a quick snooze, and then the sitting next to the driver in the front and talking, right? Like, luckily, I didn't have to drive at all, so I was like, I took the responsibility of kind of staying up and keeping the driver company. So
Yeah,
for safety. But yeah, I got there and I still remember like Saturday, I just felt like a zombie on the court. I was just, the rush of playing, right? The competitive nature of playing, along with no sleep and knowing your team's already 0-2.
yeah,
Uh, and then, there's changes to the schedule. Who am I going to play? What's going to happen? What if you go 0-3 on a four game schedule versus a 5 game schedule, right?
yeah,
There's less room to make up those losses.
yeah,
I mean, Saturday, I just remember like that Saturday night, like I'm sure most of the guys, I just slept like I just went, I went back to the hotel or the person's home I was staying at, and I just slept. Like I just didn't move. I
yeah,
just did that catch up sleep.
yeah,
Um, but like the brotherhood, the bond, like we all talked about. I mean, that weekend just shows exactly when we were all put in a tough situation, how we all come together. The committee is always so helpful. I mean, they have problem solvers, right? Hatim Karimi, Qusai, Tahir Baiji. These guys are like, they solve problems. That's what they're good at. And they have solutions, and they kind of put together a best solution that's going to be best for the tournament, not just like it's going to help some but not the other. They're always considering all different angles and making sure it's helping the whole tournament, right? Like
yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
uh
That part
which
was awesome, right?
the
It's not
refs,
even,
right? You just heard him say they even took care of the refs. Like
yeah,
they're making sure the longevity of this tournament is sustained, and they're always are looking out. They're always thinking a few steps ahead, and that's
yeah,
the best thing of it. Sometimes even I or many of the people, we can't pick it up, because you're so competitive. You're thinking about something, but they're already thinking a few steps ahead, which I
yeah,
really admire about the committee that Qusai has been part of since outside of year one. He's the anchor. Him, Karimi, uh, Tahir Baiji, who joined once he started. I mean, they're the anchors. Hatem Jafferji, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
those are the anchors of the tournament.
It's a ton of work,
Yeah,
and a ton of stuff like behind the scenes that are going on. And that's part of the reason that like I wanted to have Qusay on here and tell the story about how much work the committee does just behind the scenes that nobody sees, just keeping everything running smoothly. So, kudos to you guys, man.
and I mean,
It's amazing.
how many times we say things happen for a reason. I mean, all of that happened, but a 4 game schedule on Saturday is much doable for
Yes.
us in our 40s versus the
I
five
love
game.
it.
I still remember the fifth game was like treacherous, right? It was tough
Yeah.
all
I,
these years.
and the quality of it wasn't that good anyway,
Yeah,
so it's like you kind of realize, wait, we didn't even need that.
yeah, I think the 4 game schedule kind of really a good thing came out of it is the 4 game schedule, maybe making the game slightly longer, right? I think we
Mhm.
do like 15-minute halves versus 12-minute halves, but the quality of games have improved. And the 4 games are really, I think it's sufficient to get you the right, your team chemistry for Sunday.
Mhm.
So I think that was the best part that came out of that tournament.
Yeah. So
Outside of the first 9-0 team, I think that
first
was our
9-0
Australian
team, that was
team.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. To say like, so I guess it's like the usual committee, and then there's some like Toronto guys this year, right? Who are like kind of
Yeah,
spearheading some of
so
that stuff, like Hatem Butwala, who else? Yamani.
yeah, so we have every year, like when we did Houston, when we did California, uh this first time now we're doing Toronto. Every year that we've gone to another city, we've tried to take on a couple of the local people to join the main committee to help with a lot of the um, on the ground prep and on the ground logistics. This year, Hatem Butwala has been very active, and um, the support that was given by the Toronto people and the Toronto players is one of the reasons why we're holding, the tournament in Toronto this year. They had the Northern Classic, and they they ran it very well, very successful, and that gave them the confidence to hold the this year's BBA. And you know, since we've been out, like obviously, I think everyone loves Chicago. I love Chicago. It's we doing a tournament in Chicago is like it doesn't take much effort. We have all the logistics down. We know the refs. We know the facilities. You know, we could plan a Chicago tournament in less than a month if it need to be.
Mhm.
Uh, these other tournaments, they have their challenges. They have but by going out and reaching out to these other cities, uh, when we went out to California, we tapped into a vast talent of California players, of West Coast players that typically hadn't, uh, come out to Chicago just for any, like, they were just scared or hesitant that no one knows us. We won't get picked and stuff like that. But now they had the ability to showcase their talent, and more and more West Coast players are showing up in BBA. So that was one of our goals, that Toronto and Canada in itself has a great talent base, uh, and we want to kind of tap into that. Obviously, they have their their issues of coming to the States in different locations, but if they see how BBA works and they see these other players, they make bonds with, the Hozi Rajas, the Huzefas, the Amir Yukanis, the Mustansir Abbases, and they see these other Muminin brothers ball and stuff. I'm pretty sure they're gonna want to represent themselves and come to future tournaments wherever they might be, Chicago, Detroit, New York, wherever we hold it next,
Yeah.
Austin. It's kind of like an outreach to bring people Muminin who enjoy basketball and have something in common with other Muminin who also enjoy basketball. You know,
Yeah.
it's very like any type of sport. I think, I mean, we all agree, and like we're all 40 plus. I don't know, Zephyr, you're 40 plus, right? Hopefully. Uh, we're all 40 plus. We understand the value of sports and the value of the what you learn from sports, playing organized sports.
Yeah.
And a lot of these youngsters, sometimes they don't realize that, you can balance sports and deen and dunya all together. And when they see these types of tournaments, they kind of see that, hey, like Huzefa is captain, Tahir Hamid. I remember when he became captain, people were like amazed. Hey, Tahir Hamid's a Hafiz, or Abbas Kalol is a Janab in Mahad, or Shabir Karimi's a Miyasab, or stuff like that. Like you have Miyasabs playing, you have Mullah, you had Hafizo, you have kids from Jamia, you have you know vast array of people who love basketball and are playing basketball together. So it's a like one thing I look forward to in BBA is just seeing all of us just come together on a basketball court and play basketball. It's just
Yeah,
it's an amazing sight.
it's awesome, man. It's like a uniter. It's the ultimate uniter. So, Qusai, I got two more things to ask you before we go. We're coming up on time.
Yeah.
The first one is what advice or any piece of advice do you have for the Toronto guys who are hosting and like kind of any young guys who are out there who want to be part of a committee, or maybe they're part of a committee on another sport and they're trying to put together a tournament. So that's the first thing. And the second question is give us some insight into like what we can expect in Toronto. Like I haven't heard anything about the jerseys or the swag or whatever, man. Give us something.
Um, so the advice to Toronto people is like it's gonna be a crazy weekend. We're gonna lean on you a lot when we come there. Um, but we're confident that you guys will perform. Uh, it's not it has nothing to do with being from Toronto or for being from Chicago or for being from Houston or anywhere. It's it's just the movement panu in us that when people come to your town, to your city, they just end up opening up arms and accepting you and helping you out in whether in every sense that they can. I mean, I'm sure when people this year went to all these different places, like went to Chennai, Chennai people opened up their houses to everyone. Colombo people opened up their houses to everyone. It's just something innate in us as Muminin that when other Muminin come, we just open up and we do our best. And for advice for the youngsters is I guess you guys mentioned like think two steps ahead. Think of where you want this tournament or where you want this organization or this event to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and how you can get as many people involved to make their lives better. Like
Mm,
one of the things I like about all these tournaments that we do, from BBA, MFL to tough to ping pong, racquetball, we're encouraging Muminin to be active. Um, Riyazat karvu, varzish karvu. It's a very important thing for us to do. And these tournaments give give us excuses to work out, to get in shape, and to compete and to make ourselves better. At the end of the day, if we don't win that weekend, but if we for getting ready for this tournament, we've put in 6 months of work of going to the gym, of running, getting in shape. You've bettered yourself. You've already won
mm.
by putting in all that effort. So that's why, I mean, myself, Hatim, Bhaiji, Timmy, we're only going to be able to do this for a few more years, and then we got to take a back seat. So hopefully there's young guns, the Mela Manjars, the Kitabwalas, there's so many young talent people in BBA. They can take over the reins and they can take over, organizing.
Yeah.
Maybe they can organize a over 50 league for us that we can play in
Let's
or
go.
something. But um, and as for this year, Toronto, I mean, as you guys all know, this we've got 20 teams this year. This is the highest. Like when we first started this registration for Toronto, we were worried. Uh, there was me and Hatim had conversations of of planning. Hey, if we don't get enough people, maybe we have to change the venue. We change Toronto. We change it back to Chicago on a different date or something. What if we don't get enough people? Um, but Alhamdulillah, we got enough players for 20 teams. It's crazy.
Wild.
Um, inshallah, we plan on doing similar jerseys as last year. We've given team owners a little bit more leeway to choose names and stuff if they don't want to have like NBA names. Then they have the right to choose other names. One of the cool things that we've done is that the winning team or the winning owner this year will get a significant. They'll get a $2,553 check.
Nice.
That's the highest payout that we've ever had. Not only that, we'll also giving the runner-up team, I think $1,200. Don't quote me on that. Hatim might get mad at me if it's less or more. But I think we've budgeted for giving a check to the runner-up team as well. So now making the finals
Oh
of
man,
the
sorry, Qusai, man. You could use that last year, man.
yeah. And then and this year we're also going to give a monetary prize to the MVP. So if anyone wants to vote for me for MVP, I'm looking for. But yeah, and we're working on some swag still. It's still underway, but hopefully everyone will be happy. Um, and we'll come out of this tournament talking about with great stories.
Yeah. I've said it before that like you can actually have this tournament by just having all the guys show up that day, drafting the teams that day and just playing. Just because we're all just there to play basketball pretty much, you know. So the fact that like we get all this extra stuff is just it just makes it awesome. Um,
Yeah,
it's not really necessary to be honest, but it enhances the experience for everybody. So um definitely it's an appreciated thing. And
no,
Huzefa, one more thing, man. Give us some,
yeah.
what I appreciate about you is that not only have you been good, but for how long you've been good for. Since this thing started, you've been the top player. So like, how do you do it, man? What's your secret?
Uh, I'm just obsessed with it, right? Like you have to really be obsessed with something if you want to succeed at it, right? And then kind of bringing it back to one of Mola's bayan, and that was in Chennai. He said, Mola had mentioned you have to sacrifice, right? Like you
Hmm.
have to sacrifice time, energy. It takes effort to succeed at anything, right? It doesn't have to be just basketball. But sports, you can take what I learned, and what I learned in basketball, I apply to all facets of my life.
Hmm.
Um, so just for the youngsters, for everybody, just go out there and do it. Yes, exercising is hard. Yes, being in shape is hard. But you know what's even harder? Being out of shape or injuring yourself or being older and not being able to do things, that you want to do with your kids and families. And so go out there, put in the work, be obsessed with being in great shape, be obsessed with the sport, be obsessed with your careers, and things that you want to do, accomplish with Dean and Dunya both, and just work hard, right? That's what I constantly do. I work hard. I want to lead. And then as I want to lead my team, so I always want to set the example. Even now, I'm not the captain, but I keep on pushing my team because I want to set the example by saying, look, I'm not just saying it, I'm doing it,
Yeah.
right? I'm going to lead by action, not just by telling you guys what to do. Um, so there's no secret except hard work, I think, man.
Yeah. So I mean, like I mentioned that, like, I think a lot of us don't appreciate like what the committee does behind the scenes, but like a lot of us, like, if you've joined late or whatever, you see Hutzler like killing it every year. Like that just doesn't happen either, right? There's a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes that he's putting in when no one else is watching, and then and what we're seeing is like the final result. So, um, it's all about that hard work. So. But I want to thank you guys, man. This was fun.
Thank
I
you.
I,
Yeah.
I remember
No,
that
thank
tournament
you.
fondly, and the sacrifices everybody made, and because of all this, like these experiences, like here we are, right? Uh, 14 years later, 20 team tournament, um, international. So I
Yeah.
mean,
Wow.
let's just hope for another good tournament this year, guys.
Inshallah. Yeah.
Everyone try to get there Friday early morning so you don't have delays or get canceled or anything.
Yeah, that's some good advice. Thanks for that.
Great tip.
All right, take care,
All right,
guys.
take care,
Thank
guys.
you, guys.